All right, welcome to the Ravit Show. We are here at Reinvent, and I'm with Camden from New Relic. Super excited to chat with you, Camden, because I know you've been doing a lot of things in AI space, in AI ops, Agentic Orchestration at New Relic. But we'll get into the much more into the discussion. But before that, would you like to introduce yourself? Tell us more about what you do at New Relic.
Sure, yeah. Camden Swita, Director of Product Management at New Relic, leading our AI ML initiatives and also our AI Ops initiatives. So think of everything from anomaly-based alerting to forecasting and predictive analytics to automated incident response, what we're doing with generative AI and agentic orchestration, and then of course what we're doing with classical machine learning to kind of improve our recommendations and so on. So yeah, I've been at New Relic a few years and have just loved every second of it.
That's awesome. Those are huge things that you're doing in the space. I'm kind of excited to obviously start talking a little about AI ops, because that's been a topic that a lot of enterprise leaders are excited about. How are you kind of looking at AI ops at New Relic?
Sure. Yeah, great question. And it's you ask 10 different people what AI ops means to them, and you might get 10 different definitions. The way we think of it at New Relic is, it's almost like a 4-stage cycle, right? There's intelligent detection of problems, and this can be detection of problems that are occurring already or will occur. There's intelligent and automated response following that detection. So what do you do to mitigate the issue as quickly as possible, or maybe even mitigate it before it happens, right?
Yes, very important.
Sure. And then there's, after that, there's problem management, right? Which could be root cause analysis, correlation of different issues to one another, so that you can really understand what's at the heart of a problem and solve it to prevent recurring incidents. And then at the tail end of that, what we think of is knowledge management, right? Like, how do you take the accrued learning and information from detection through incident response and actually apply it forward to improve your detection capabilities, improve your models, improve your documentation, whatever it might be. Yeah. So that for us is kind of the truncated AI ops cycle that we really try to anchor our features to.
Yeah, no, I think those are fantastic insights that you've kind of shared about, and also kind of is very much helpful for the enterprise leaders out there. Talking about them, obviously I'm pretty sure your customers are super excited when it comes to AI ops,
Sure.
The observability, how it kind of plays a very important role in their architecture, right?
Yeah.
Would you like to share a little about that as well? Any use case that comes to your mind? Anything?
Absolutely. There's several pain points I think what we're doing at AI Apps can really help address, and I'll kind of just go in order of like the cycle that I was describing, but customers' estates or their software systems are becoming increasingly complex, right? This has been a trend that's been going on for years. It's not changing. Right. We're even adding new layers of the stack with AI as it's becoming integrated into what they're doing. And it's incredibly difficult to manage alert conditions and coverage across that entire stack at all times, right? And it results in blind spots and things of that nature, which is the beauty of applying more of an ML forward approach to detection. So rather than relying on customers to set up and manage these alert conditions, automatically monitor the signals on these things for them, correlate deviations to one another, and alert them when you detect a deviation or an anomaly, right? Yeah. So this kind of like proactive alerting, right? And then you can even think of that in more of a forecasting way, where if you can actually tell someone, hey, we think that there's a high likelihood that this alert condition will actually fire in the next 15 minutes, hour, day, week, then the customer can get in there and either maybe make an adjustment to the thresholds if they think that they should be adjusted, or actually try to address the problem before there's a potential disruption, right?
Right.
Then when we move into kind of the response stage here, the use cases there get really interesting, because if you think about people, why people use observability, why people use New Relic, there are, let's call it maybe 15 to 20 major use cases, and most of them are around incident prevention or incident mitigation. So something is going wrong, I need to know why, or I need to at least get some signals as to what's going on so I can fix it, right? And what ends up happening is you end up, a lot of people develop sort of a an expertise in using these observability platforms, right? Like you get these New Relic power users, and they've been doing it for years, and they're the ones at their company that kind of know where the things are, how to do this, what dashboard to go to, how to use these features in combination. And it's hard for customers to kind of spread that knowledge evenly across their teams. And so you end up with this kind of hero culture where when there is an incident, right, you have to bring in that one person, that one worker who's really good at solving incidents well.
True.
But what we can do now with the advent of these autonomous agents is sort of distill the knowledge of those incident heroes into these agents and actually just automate the tasks and the research so that basically anybody from anywhere can prompt one of these agents and say, I think something's going wrong. Right. Can you go and check these 15 different data points and do this kind of reasoning for me and then help me make an informed decision about whether I should escalate this or not, right? And it kind of blows the doors off accessibility of observability, basically, right?
Can you also say it's more like a teammate too now? The SREs and the enterprise leaders are there who kind of, obviously looking at these instances.
Right.
Right.
Exactly. And it opens the doors for, people who wouldn't normally consider New Relic to be part of their tool set.
Yeah.
Suddenly now they can easily get access to these observability insights, whereas even last year they wouldn't have been able to.
I love it. These are great insights. Thanks for sharing that. That kind of also brings me to an important topic around agentic orchestration.
Yep.
How does that work? What's the process? I would love to know, and I'm pretty sure the audience would love to know as well.
Sure. The concept, at least how I would define it, is as we continue to build out these specialist autonomous agents, there's great value that can be unlocked having them work together. So I have an agent that is particularly good at troubleshooting problems with Kubernetes. And it's been given all of the right prompting and all the right context to do a particularly good job at troubleshooting Kubernetes issues, right? Now, you may also have a specialist agent that is particularly good at troubleshooting Lambda issues or troubleshooting just APM service issues, whatever it is, or understanding errors or working with logs data to kind of pull out hard to define insights. And it's advantageous to make each of these agents a specialist because you can kind of narrow its attention and prevent it from hallucinating and also make it more efficient and able to go deeper in these topics. And when you can actually coordinate those agents together is when you start to create basically like a team that can take a pretty big, complicated problem and say, okay, we've got these different layers of the stack. You go do that, you go do that, you go do that.
Wow.
I'll get all of the information back from the rest of you, do some reasoning, and we'll make a recommendation together. And that's agentic orchestration. And this can happen not only on New Relic's platform, but you can imagine this also happening across platforms.
Nice.
So we're actually building integrations now with between our AI agent and other vendors' AI agents that are common. And so these users can automate these tasks across platforms that maybe would have taken them 45 minutes, an hour, or even longer before in a matter of a minute or two. It's just a huge time saver.
I love it. These are fantastic things, and also you're kind of thinking about the cross-platform, which kind of plays a very important role because not everyone's is building. There are so many agents, right?
Right.
So it just makes their job easier in terms of there's no agents that we need to build on New Relic as well, right?
Right.
So it's great. One last topic that I wanted to obviously discuss was about forecasting in predictive analytics.
Yeah.
That's something you've been working on, so kind of wanting to know a little about that.
Sure, yeah. I mean, of course, time series forecasting, it's not a new concept, but it's something that we think is increasingly important, especially in a world where our customers really want to move away from being reactive and more proactive or focusing on reliability engineering practices. So it's becoming increasingly important that we're able to tell a user or a customer, hey, we think it's highly probable that these signals will breach these thresholds soon. You should try to get ahead of the problem. But that's just forecasting, right? Time series forecasting, it's statistics, it's math. When you start to think about predictive analytics is where I think things can get even more interesting and potentially powerful, but also more difficult. But we're working on this as well, which is, the simplest use case I kind of like to pull out is given this series of events that have been occurring inside your system, how probable do we think it is that this next event will or won't happen?
Yeah.
And that goes way beyond time series forecasting into a realm where you might even be able to begin to predict conversions in an e-commerce setting based on certain melt data that you're ingesting into New Relic. Or of course you'll be able to try to anticipate like outages or disruptions to your digital experiences based on a series of events. So these kinds of machine learning driven predictive analytics use cases I think are, again, going to be difficult problems to solve, and it's going to be iterative, but it's going to be a huge unlock that is going to just completely change how people think about reliability engineering. Whereas today it's all about how fast can you respond, how fast can you mitigate the damage, and we're really moving into how well can you stay ahead of the issues using the tools available to you.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love those insights, Camden. Quickly also wanting to, learn a little about where can people find you? If they want to reach out to you, is it LinkedIn, Twitter? Where can they reach out?
Sure, LinkedIn's definitely the best place. I mean, Camden Swita, look me up, and I'd love to chat.
It is awesome, great things that you're building in this space. It is always good to see, how AI is evolving, but at the same time, how companies like New Relic are helping their customers, clients, prospects, community to get to the next level in the AI world.
Yeah,
so
great.
that's awesome. Thank you very much for chatting on the Ravit Show. Such a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.